Hi everyone, welcome to the Little Book of Algorithms version 2.0, and we are looking today at challenge 11. It's a simple function, and I suppose it would be easier if you have this program at the side, as that's kind of like the boilerplate code that we're going to apply. But as I've been doing this with my students without the book, and I've just been presented the challenges, I'll probably look at it that way, and then you'll also be able to see how I'm solving this, and we can run it and just see what it looks like as well. Okay, so we'll start with challenge 11, and we'll also have a look at challenge 12 as well. So it says write a subprogram that takes the length, width, and height as arguments. So already, because it says write a subprogram, that means in Python we're going to have to use def. We're going to have to define either a function or procedure. It then says that you have to return the volume of the cuboid. Now, because it says return, that means you know that it's going to be a function. It then actually says, after writing the function, show how you might call the function to output an answer with a meaningful message. So we're kind of giving it away that is a function there. Let's just write the function to start with. We'll start by defining it, and it's the volume of a cuboid. So we'll do vol cuboid, and we're going to take in the length, width, and height. So we'll put length, width, and height. Those are our parameters. And then below that, we need to work out the volume of a cuboid. You should all know that the volume of a cuboid is the length times the width times the height. If you didn't know, then now you know. So we're going to do the volume out, or we might just say vol equals, we'll just keep it short. You could write volume. Volume equals length times width times height. Now, you'll also notice I'm putting spaces in between my operators, this equal sign, this assignment, and this multiply sign. That's more for readability. You can do it without the spaces, although Pythonistas, people who write Python for a living, will generally prefer it with spaces for readability. So we've figured out what the volume is. We now need to return it. Otherwise, the user won't actually be able to use that. So we're then just going to do return volume. Okay, it says after writing the function, show how you might call the function to output an answer with a meaningful message. So what that means is how is someone going to actually use that function? Because on its own, it's not usable until it's actually called. So we need to actually ask the user for their length, width, and height. I'm going to keep it slightly shorter because I believe I'm going to run out of space. So we're going to do len in equals int input because it's an integer, and we're going to say enter the length, and we're closing two brackets there because we've opened one for the int when we cast it to an integer. We've opened another one when we've done that for input. I'm actually fine with you copy and pasting that for width and height. So we'll do width and height, and then we'll say enter the width, enter the height. And then what we need to do is we then need to call our function. So we'll say vol. We can't really call it volume because we've already got a volume there. You could do volume out, but I'm just going to call it vol equals, and then we're going to call volume cuboid, and we're going to pass in these parameters, well, these arguments, length in, width in, height in. Length in will go into length, width in will go into width, and height in will go into height. So we go len underscore in, width underscore in, comma, height underscore in. And then we can print out the volume with it says with a meaningful message. It'll generally say that in your exam as well. So then you need to do print, the volume is vol. And we can either just concatenate using the comma, or you can do use the plus to concatenate. But if you do that, you're going to have to cast volume into a string because volume is an integer. It won't let you concatenate or join that onto this string if you do it like that. Let's have a look at what the program looks like in Python. The variable names might be slightly different, but we'll be able to run it. The structure is exactly the same. I've called this volume out, but you can see pretty much the same. And I've cast it to a string here. Let's run it. They asked me for the length of the cuboid, 10, 20 for the width, 10 for the height. It'll multiply them all together. The volume of the cuboid is 2000. So yeah, the areas that people kind of didn't do so well on is I saw a lot of people just write these 3 lines of code and then do volume equals len in times width in times height in and then print the volume is volume. But actually it's explicitly asks you for a subprogram, so you should definitely do a subprogram. Okay, hope that's helpful. That is challenge 11 from the Little Book of Algorithms 2.0.